Commercial real estate investment and brokerage firms are operating under a lot of uncertainty today, and as a result, many of these firms are either slowing the hiring process down or looking for no-risk candidates that have done the specific role they're hiring for before. But if you're trying to make a move in CRE today and looking to land your first job in the industry, this can prove to be a pretty tricky task, and specifically if you don't have direct experience doing everything that would be required of you in this new role from day one. So if that's the case for you, how can you showcase yourself as a no-risk hire today to maximize your chances of landing an interview and ultimately landing the role you're applying for? Well, in this video, we're going to do something a little bit different and break down the cover letter and 3 things to make sure that you add to any cover letter you send out in the commercial real estate investment space to set you up for success even in this competitive job market. Hey, this is Justin from Breaking to CRE, and if you're new here on this channel, we talk about real estate investing careers and real estate financial analysis. So if you're looking to break into the industry or advance your current real estate investing career, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos as soon as they're released. Now, when you're applying for roles in any industry, real estate included, it's easy for your resume to go into a black hole, never to hear back from the job poster again. And with unemployment in double digits right now and companies hesitant to hire talent, the initial resume screening process is a lot more competitive than it's been in the last decade, making it much easier to end up with your own resume in that black hole of silence. However, one tool that can help you sidestep that black hole is a tool that's often overlooked by job seekers firing off dozens of applications per week, and that is the cover letter. And while your resume can do a great job of highlighting your experience and skill sets, a cover letter allows you to clearly tell your story about why you're the best fit for the specific role you're applying for and gives the hiring manager an opportunity to get to know you a little bit better even before getting to the interview phase. But if you've written a cover letter before, you know that this isn't the easiest thing in the world, and it's tough to narrow down exactly what you want to put into 3 or 4 paragraphs that are needed to tell your story. So in this video, let's break down 3 things that you'll definitely want to have for any cover letter you write. Now, before we get into point number 1, I want to re-emphasize the point that you want this letter to be concise, brief, and to the point. Just a few paragraphs will be sufficient, and anything more than a page is usually a good indication that your wording might be a little bit too lengthy. So make sure to keep this short and sweet and use your available space wisely to grab attention and set yourself apart from the competition. And speaking of setting yourself apart from the competition, let's start with the first point on this list, which is to start the letter off with why the role interested you in the first place. It is extremely time-consuming to interview candidates, and it's not uncommon for online job postings to see several hundred applications come through the door right now. And that means that hiring managers need to have 1 or more base filters to screen candidates quickly and review all the available resumes in the pile. And one of those filters, especially for companies which spend significant time or money training new employees, is whether or not the candidate shows a clear interest in direction in the company and where that role will take them. This means that if you're applying for an asset management role at a startup company that acquires and manages office buildings, this is your opportunity to talk about your career interest in office asset management and your interest to work for a company like the one you're applying for. So this might look something along the lines of, thank you for the opportunity to apply for the asset management associate role within your firm. My experience in office asset management working for larger institutional firms, coupled with my interest in contributing to the growth of a small entrepreneurial real estate investment firm, makes this opportunity extremely exciting to me. Anything that can show that you're serious about the role and you're not just firing off a bunch of generic resumes and cover letters to any firm that is even remotely related to a place you'd want to work is going to help you a lot in passing through this initial screening process. And while this might seem like a really trivial thing, I can promise you this matters. And despite how much this matters, a lot of people don't tend to take the process all too seriously. In fact, in my experience, I've reviewed multiple cover letters when hiring for positions where the candidate included another firm's name when referring to the company they were applying for. I've also reviewed cover letters where candidates talked about their career interests in roles completely unrelated to our firm or even unrelated to the real estate industry altogether. So I'm telling you, even though this seems simple or basic, just adding 1 or 2 sentences solidifying that your career interests are aligned with the role can go a really long way. Now, a question you might be asking after hearing all of this is, what if I'm not sure this is really where I want to take my career long term? And that makes sense that you might not have 100% certainty on where you want to be 30 years from now, especially if you're just graduating college or a few years out of school. And with that said, especially for analyst and associate roles, you need to show a definite interest, but not necessarily that you plan to lock yourself into the field forever. Just make sure that you're clear on the job function you want to do right now, that you're excited about the company you'll be working with, and can see yourself growing within the firm in the future. And even if that doesn't materialize, if you're able to convey that on your resume, that will make the cost in time and money to interview, hire, and train you much more worth it to that employer than if you came off as if you weren't committed to the process and you were flip-flopping on where you wanted to go and what you wanted to do over the next 3 to 5 years. Now, once you've talked about why the role interests you and feel like you can pass that portion of the screening process, the next paragraph in your cover letter is your prime opportunity to talk about the skill sets you have, the experiences you've had, and the things you've accomplished which have prepared you directly for the role you're looking to take on. So we talked about employers wanting no-risk hires earlier on in this video, and this is your opportunity to show them that that's the case with you. So this section of your cover letter should explain 1 to 3 key skill sets, experiences that you've had, or things that you've accomplished that are directly applicable to the job responsibility bullet points contained in that job description. So this is your chance to show that you've done the job or something similar before and could step into the role successfully on day one with minimal training and oversight. And again, even if your experience doesn't align perfectly with everything you'll be doing, this is your opportunity to highlight that experience that does make you a perfect fit for the role. So this could be a project that you worked on, a responsibility that you had, or any sort of adjacent skill set that would show your proficiency in the role. So for example, if you're applying for an acquisitions analyst role at a multifamily investment firm, you might want to include any experience you've had with underwriting multifamily properties, putting together offering memorandums and equity investor packages, managing the due diligence process, building pro forma models in Excel, or anything else that will be expected of you when you step into the role. And again, if you're feeling overwhelmed here or saying, I don't have all the experience they're looking for, you don't have to check every single one of the boxes for this to work. So maybe you're applying for that multifamily acquisitions analyst role and you only have experience in corporate finance outside of real estate. Well, in that corporate finance role, you probably worked quite a bit in Excel, you probably created pro forma models, and you likely understand cash flow statements and basic accounting very well. You'll also have a unique perspective and training coming from a different industry, which will allow you to apply your adjacent experience to analyzing deals more effectively than if you hadn't had that outside experience. This is also a great opportunity for you to highlight any must-have skill sets that you're currently building by highlighting any sort of coursework you've completed or are currently working on, or certifications or licenses that you have. Overall, this paragraph is a great opportunity for you to explain to the employer why you're a perfect fit for the role and how the transition will make perfect sense based on where you've been, what you're able to do, and where you're looking to go in the future. And finally, once you've made your interests clear and shown you can do the job successfully, the final thing on this list I'd recommend is to make sure to start and end your letter with humility and gratitude. Now, I know this sounds a little bit out there and woo-woo, but I promise you this matters. Hiring managers do not want someone to come in on day one and act like they know everything and their way is always the right way. And this is especially true at the analyst and associate level. And in most cases, if you're applying for a job that's requiring anywhere from about 1 to 5 years of experience, the expectation will be that you'll actually learn the company's processes and way of doing things, and they'll want to make sure that you're still somewhat malleable as far as how you do your job. So cover letters, like resumes, are a delicate balance of showing confidence, but also not appearing cocky or arrogant. So you want to be clear about the things you can do and the experiences that you've had, but you also want to be careful not to overstate or embellish experiences or skill sets, which is often more apparent than you'd think to experienced hiring managers. The best way to go about walking this fine line is by expressing excitement to apply your existing skill set and add value to a team, but also to mention your excitement about the learning and growth opportunities within that organization as well. Companies tend to want a team player that is always looking to improve, can assess their own strengths and weaknesses, and acknowledges that they aren't perfect or right 100% of the time. And the person who clearly states their abilities and skill sets and does so with humility shows much better than the person who tries to sound like they know everything about everything and clearly exaggerates their experiences and what they can do. So for you, just make sure that you're on the winning side of that equation when starting or finishing any cover letter that you send out. So I hope that was helpful in breaking down what should be in your cover letter and what should not. Now, if you want additional help with things like resume structuring and how to best show yourself in front of an employer and land a job this year, make sure to check out the How to Land a Job in Private Equity Real Estate course, which is linked in the description below. And that class walks through the entire process of applying for, interviewing for, and landing a job in commercial real estate investment or brokerage from start to finish. And if you want instant access to all Breaking a CRE courses, all Breaking a CRE models and training files, and some additional one-on-one email support from me to help you land your first or next role in the industry, make sure to check out Breaking a CRE Academy, and I'll also link that in the description below as well. Also, if you're a commercial real estate professional and have used anything else in your cover letters that has helped you stand out that we didn't cover here, make sure to let me know in the comments below. So make sure to keep these points in mind the next time that you're building a cover letter. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.